So in here is supposedly a watch that you've all been asking for, or at least Christopher Ward's fans have been asking for, and that is the 12 sports watch in 38mm. Now the reason I'm covering this, which is usually out of my price bracket, is because I already reviewed the 36mm 12 watch, and that watch was also available in 40 and I think 41mm as well, which left a bit of a gap there. And even I got a fair few comments on my 36mm review saying, you know, I wish they did this in 38, and it makes sense really, doesn't it? And apparently that's now what they've delivered. So I'm going to be taking a quick look at this. This watch is currently on loan from Christopher Ward, so it will be going back, but thanks to them for loaning it in. We'll take a closer look at it, and we'll have a look at the exact measurements as well to see if it is 38mm. I'll link this watch in the video description if you want to check it out. Now this is a press sample unit, so things might vary a fraction from retail, I'd imagine. You get a little bit of documentation there as always. And here we have the new watch, and this colour looks fabulous. Now I haven't seen any documentation on exactly what this particular colourway is called yet, because it wasn't featured in the press release, but this is like the yellowy champagne one, and it looks really nice. Much better than the blue option I looked at before. Very, very luxurious. I like this colour because it's not too ostentatious. It's the only thing sometimes with the bright gold watches. It can look a little bit flashy, but this just looks really swanky. Now on the specs front, this watch is apparently identical to some of the other 12 watches. So you've got that stainless steel case, 10 ATM water resistance. In the back is a Sellita SW200-1, which is pretty nice. I can't remember what the case back looked like in the previous one, but it looks pretty decent actually with the screws there. But straight out of the box, this definitely looks a lot bigger than the 36mm. And I'm just really impressed by the colour. This is 1000% the colour to get out of the ones I've seen. Looks awesome. And the only other difference this one has versus the last one I looked at is it's got the updated bracelet. Now you can't see on the surface, but this one has the concealed micro adjustment system inside apparently. So if I pull this end link, there we go, you get an extra 2mm of adjustment range, and that's the same on both sides. So you get the upsides of a nice butterfly clasp and an integrated bracelet with far fewer downsides, because typically these really limit your adjustments or just don't give you any adjustments. And not only does Christopher Ward provide you with a smaller link here, which you can remove entirely if you want, but you've also got that system. So that really makes this one of the best sports watch bracelets out there, especially considering this is like an integrated bracelet watch. So you'd otherwise struggle for strap options. You want the stock one to be as good as possible, obviously. Let's get the exact measurements before I look at it on my wrist. Widthways, it depends where you measure. You have these crown guards here that stick out. I'm going to go without them to start with. Yeah, we're almost exactly 38mm there, 37.9. That's probably where the nomenclature comes from. Again, the bezel depends a little on where you measure. The angled section is only about 35mm, and then the flat section about 36.5. It's still quite a thin watch this for an automatic, 10.2. And lug to lug again, really depends where you measure here. The effective lug to lug with those end links, still quite short, 42.9-ish. Although that next link down is also a little bit limited, so maybe closer to 50, but it looks quite small to me. And here's a look at it on my 6.25-inch wrist. And if I wasn't saving for a house right now, this is absolutely the colour I go for if I was in the market for one of these. I think this looks fantastic. It almost looks like a completely different watch in this colour. And to some extent, with the sizing difference, I don't know. The last one didn't feel like it was quite hovering, but there was a bit of pancakiness, which for some reason seems to be gone with this one, even though it's bigger. You do get a little bit of gaps there under the lug, but it's not awful. Obviously, I've got a very small wrist, but this is definitely a really versatile size. I think if you've deliberately been holding off to hope for one in this sort of size, the weight has paid off from the looks of this. Now it is about £1,000 here in the UK, so it's definitely not a cheap watch, but thought I'd make this given that I already reviewed the other smaller one. But in future I will be trying to keep my budget lower for this channel and for my Ben's Watch Club channel too. And here's a look at that dial. Really like the subtlety of that colour. Exquisite finishing as well. Proportionally looks better than the 36. Haven't tried the 40 in the flesh though. And of course you get that highly textured dial just like with the last few. It's amazing to me, you know, how colour makes such a difference. It's so important. If I was ever making a watch brand, I'd probably spend many late nights just trying to pick the colours because it feels like it's that crucial. Yeah, I could almost get away with that. It is close to fitting me actually, considering my wrist's really small. I think a lot of people are going to be very, very happy with that one. Good job, Christopher Ward.